That's right. All right, why don't we get started if you want to go to the next slide here. So again, thank you everyone for joining us today. A few housekeeping notes as we start our presentation. If you're new to any of our Riverwoods presentations, everyone is on mute, but we certainly will welcome questions about today's topic. And Kathleen, she's very knowledgeable, and I'm sure she'll be more than welcome to answer a lot of questions that you might all have on your mind at the end of the program today. Certainly use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Certainly, we always tell you to wait to the end because you might hear a topic or something during the course of the presentation. Always look for suggestions on way we can improve our programming, or if you have a certain topic or suggestion that you think would be a great something that everyone would learn from or love to hear about, certainly let one of your sales counselors know or respond back to Riverwoods at our riverwoodsnh.org website. That would be wonderful. For some of you that are new to Riverwoods or anything, if you want to flip to
Yeah.
next slide, Kathleen, that'd be great. Learning about what a life care community is, or a CCRC, terminology, continuing care retirement community. So Riverwoods is basically an insurance product. We are regulated by the state of New Hampshire Department of Insurance. We have a contract with our residents. Residents come and live independently in the community, though we do take direct admissions from time to time and higher levels of care. So our industry is based on financial performance reported to the state annually. You're basically prepaying in most of our communities for your future care. Again, moving in as an independent resident, enjoying the lifestyle, the benefits of community, being around people, and having all those services, those everyday activities, part of your lifestyle without the worry of taking care of your home, those horrible duties of repairing roofs and all those other things that people do, and even snow removal in the winter time. So our communities enter, again, people enter independently, free from all that home maintenance, and we provide great activities, service, dining, housekeeping services. All those are part of our lifestyle choice if you come to Riverwoods. Again, with that, that benefit or that peace of mind as your healthcare needs change in our communities, you have full access to higher levels of care, assisted living, memory support, or long-term nursing based upon the needs. So stay in control of your life, make that plan now, as Kathleen will tell you a lot of these things to think about in the future, because wait lists do exist in our community. So think ahead, stay in control of your life as things move forward. Riverwoods today is a system of 3 not-for-profit communities, all here in the state of New Hampshire. Some of you might be familiar with one or multiple based upon your interest. Riverwoods Exeter being our founding community, opened back in 1994 with the Woods campus, now a little over 30 years old, includes 2 additional campuses, the Ridge and Boulders. We have our Riverwoods Manchester community in the northwest corner of Manchester, almost in Hooksett, so about 5 to 10 minutes to downtown Manchester. A wonderful community there. And then our newest community, a little over 5 years old, is Riverwoods Durham, about 1.5 miles to the center of Durham or the University of New Hampshire. So we have 3 wonderful locations based upon your preference and choice, based upon what amenities and services, and the location that best suits you. Riverwoods today, because we are a family or community of not-for-profit communities, we have a operations board called our CCRC board. That's our governing board. Works with our 3 communities, includes residents from our communities that sit on that board as well. And they consult with our system CEO, Justine Vogel, who's been with Riverwoods for 31 years, just recently celebrated a 31st anniversary, CEO since 2007. And then work with our systems board. Riverwoods is always looking to fulfill our mission of our 2 founders, Mariana Hatch and Rosemary Coffin, of how we grow our mission, serving more people, whether it's through community or other services that might benefit residents or people in the area. And then we have the Riverwoods group that provides professional fee-based services back to our 3 communities, things like finance, information technology, marketing, human resources, and quality control. So all of our 3 communities benefit by the Riverwoods group. And they also fund any at-risk portions of projects, new ventures, new buildings, those types of things. And again, each community is financially independent of one another in our system of communities. But while you're all here today, we are here to listen to Kathleen and her great knowledge. Cathleen Toomey, who is our award-winning podcast of Seniority Authority. Some of you might be familiar, have seen that on PBS stations. or through our Riverwoods network as well. Kathleen has 18 years in senior living, worked with the Riverwoods group for a long period of time. That's how we know each other. And during its growth periods of Riverwoods Exeter, Manchester, and Durham. So she got to see the communities grow from one small community to much larger as today. Also is known for her TED Talks, Secrets to Successful Aging. She has a great network of people that she can tap into, experts in different fields of aging, and has a really great branding experience working with companies like Timberland, Stonyfield Farm, and also Babson College, where she started out on her many ventures here. So I can talk about Kathleen all day, but we want you to hear the program and again, have a chance to answer questions at the end. So Kathleen, take it away, and I hope everyone enjoys today's presentation.
Thank you so much, Dan. And I just want to reiterate how thrilled I am to see so many familiar faces and so many colleagues that I've learned so much from. Today's conversation is going to be talking about what I have learned in the past year. And just to let you know, I do have a podcast and a consulting practice called Seniority Authority. And it started out when I started getting asked at cocktail parties by people who knew me. They started asking me questions about how to deal with aging. I live in Exeter, which is a pretty small town. I've worked for Riverwoods for many, many years. So people just came up to me and asked me a lot of questions, medical questions that I didn't know the answer to. I tracked experts down and then I decided to turn this into a podcast. So I love questions and I love to find out answers for people. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go through this presentation, but I want to hear all the questions that you have about aging, any aspect of aging. What we're going to do today is we're going to first set the table for the conversation. We're going to talk about you and why you are so different than any other generation that came before you, demographically, psychographically. Then we're going to talk about independence because that's what we all want, right? We want independence. But what does that mean? At different ages, it looks different. Then I'm going to dive into the meat of the presentation, which is what I have learned from my podcast. My podcast is once a month, and I interview national and international experts on aging. And I've put together for you a Cliff Notes of the past year of podcast, the highlights, the top 10 that I think have the most to give everyone. And then we'll talk about your goals. What do you want to do next? What does this presentation mean to you? And what do you think sticks? And of course, dive into your questions. So I think by now you may all know one reason why you're so special, which is the age wave. This is the generation of boomers who are aging into retirement. So today, 10,000 people in the US turn 65 every single day. Every day, 10,000 people turn 65, and that continues for the next 15 years. So as you can see from this census chart, US Census chart, we have never experienced this number of older adults. The other thing is that on the opposite end of that, there are fewer people in the workforce. This is another census data, and it talks about the number of people 20 to 64 for every person over 65. So the people in the workforce. 1950, we had a high of 7 people in the workforce for every retiree. 2011, it dropped to 4.1. In 2050, it is projected to be 2 people in the workforce for every retiree. Now, that's 2 people in the entire workforce. We're not talking about the super sexy long-term care industry. So, for those of you who are thinking, I am fine, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to bring in everything I need when I need it. If that is your plan, you need to start thinking now, researching the agencies, because it is going to be harder and more costly to find good help that will come to you. This is just a fact of our world. So that is a little bit of a challenge. One of the good things about where we are right now, there's a lot of us, and we are living longer than we ever have. So people are living longer now than in any prior generation. So even though there are fewer people in the workforce, the one thing that we do know is that there's no roadmap for this. So likely your grandparents, your parents didn't have the lifespan that you are projected to have. That is very significant. The other thing that's changed demographically is our adult children had got married later, had children later, are typically more far-flung. They're not like the 1950s, everybody in the same town, the same neighborhood. Your adult children could be across the world, across the country. So when it comes to a little bit of extra help that you might need, there are often not those kids right around the corner who are close to you who can help. Kids are typically more like a plane ride away in the midst of two career couples and raising their own children. So that's kind of where we are. But the good news is that people are more active now than in the past. Can you think of your grandmom playing pickleball, or taking a trip to Egypt, or traveling to see her nephews? We are more active. There's more knowledge out there about how to live more healthy. People are talking about expanding their health span, not just their lifespan. It's not about the lifespan, it's the health span. And today we have many more options than in the past when my grandfather went into a convalescent home for a few months before coming to live with my parents. It's a different kind of option. We have different choices and we are different. Just consider that when the TV show The Golden Girls was playing, the people in The Golden Girls were the same age as the Sex and the City sequel right now. So you can tell we are living in a very different universe than before. So, how does this affect you? Well, we all want to be independent. And I think independence changes at every stage. And Dr. Joe Coughlin, who runs the MIT Age Lab, agrees with me. He defines chunks of time in periods of 8,000 days. And he defines the first 8,000 days as learning. You're a child to a young adult. The next 8,000 days. So when you're a child to a young adult, you're learning to crawl, you're learning to walk, you're getting into high school, you're getting your car keys. All of this is independence, your ability to define yourself by walking, by crawling, by driving. You grow into adulthood. This is the opportunity for you to choose a partner or not, decide to raise a family or not, start your career, define who you are in the world, start making your own money to have your own place to live. So this is the growing period. The next phase is adulthood to retirement. This is your career. If you have a family, this is when you're bringing your kids up and helping them to launch into the world. You're maturing, you're getting more wisdom, you're maturing in your career, and you decide to retire. Post-retirement, which is where many of us are, is about exploring. You have this knowledge, you've accomplished these goals. Your first purpose, shall we say, is completed. What is next? That is how you define independence. What is next for you? So we have the opportunity to plan our own road. We have, as some people say, 4 phases of retirement. One is honeymoon, which is you get to do everything that you want to do um, in your life, making a big decision. Where are you going to spend your time if and when you need care? Navigating longevity, which is, okay, what happens if and when I need help? And some of us will be experiencing a solo journey if one of our spouses passes away or if we are solo ourselves. This is what many people call a gift of years. And I always say this is a gift that not everyone gets to unpack. So let's leave that there. You have a great opportunity. You're in a different mindset than any other generation. You have the opportunity to turn the lifespan that you have looking forward into the health span. What do the experts have to say about what you should do? Let's go into 10 different lessons, and at the end, we'll talk about which one resonates most with you. 1 second. Okay. All right. One of the things that we worry about most, and statistically, Americans worry more about the risk of dementia than death. This is a disease that increases with age, and it's very hard to predict because each dementia diagnosis has a very different path. But there are a number of experts who have researched where we are right now and what we can do to reduce our chance of dementia. Generations ago, it was thought to be wholly genetic. If your mom had it, if your dad had it, if your grandfather had it, you have it. Now we know that a large majority, a large percentage of our ability to fight dementia depends on our lifestyle now. So we can change our and reduce our chance of getting dementia if we incorporate different practices into our life right now. For example, exercise, sleep, and socialization. Those three things reduce our chance of dementia by 50%. This is big information, and it has been verified by a number of studies. I had an interview, and any of these interviews that you'd like to learn about more in depth, you can find on www.seniorityauthority.org. You'll be getting a recording of this. Remember Dr. Vanetta Dotson's name. She wrote a book called Keep Your Wits About You. She's a researcher and neuropsychologist and runs a laboratory and runs a program for reducing dementia. If we can start doing these three things, we will reduce our chance of dementia. And I think that is something that everyone would like to do. Speaking of exercise, I'm going to dive into this a little bit more. One of my favorite interviews is with Brian Johnson. He was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's personal trainer. He is a delightful professional, has an very cute book called RBG Workout. It's like it's a pocket-sized book. I think it's like $10 on Amazon. You can do this workout yourself. He did it with Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She started going to him after her first bout of cancer. And through working out with him, she got stronger at 82 than she was at 62. And even Brian Johnson's mother said she would start this workout routine. And I think it's about keeping moving and incorporating some strength training into your exercise because strength training is very important for bone density and, as we just said, brain health. And it's very, very important. Many of the experts that I've talked to have said if this was a drug, they would prescribe it to all of their patients that they saw. So exercise is really important. And it gets harder as we get older. It absolutely does. None of this is easy, but it is worth it to you for your future life. It is investment to you. And as Brian says, I can't care more about you than you care about yourself. So exercise is a really important part of this new process. The next thing we talked about, setting ourselves up from Vanetta Dotson's first message, which is sleep, exercise, and socialization, is socialization. So this gentleman, Dr. Bob Waldinger, was my very first interview on Seniority Authority. He's a very generous man. He's a triple Harvard, went to Harvard, got his master's, got his PhD from Harvard, and he now runs Harvard's Center for Adult Studies. And he is in charge of what is now considered the world's most comprehensive study on happiness that's been going on for over 80 years. He summarized it in this book that came out a year and a half ago called The Good Life. Harvard actually took a cohort of students back when JFK was at Harvard and studied them, every aspect of their life, their physical well-being, their exercise, their marital status, their financial success, their career advancement, their spiritual practice, what they ate. They counted the number of books in their library to decide what leads to a long, happy life, a long life that is also happy. And they came down to one conclusion: good relationships keep us happier and healthier. So when you're wondering, how do I have a happy life? It is the connections that you have with people. And I asked Dr. Waldinger in our interview, and we've had subsequent interviews, if you are not married or not partnered, does that mean you're going to have an unhappy life? And he said, no, of course. It is about two aspects. One is the very, very close, intimate relationships that you have with those people that you can call 2 o'clock in the morning when something goes wrong, the people that you confide in, the people that know you inside and out. Those are really important connections. There doesn't have to be a lot of them, just a few. Then it is that other circle of people that you say hello to walking the dog, you say hi to when you're picking up prescriptions at the pharmacy, the people that you wave to because you see them at your coffee place. Those loose connections that say to us, I am part of this community, this place. I am tied into this network. Those are also really important to preserve. So the important thing is to keep yourself open. Even introverts among us need these connections. And the way to do that is to build them. Because the one epidemic that we currently still are experiencing in the US is loneliness. As we get older, it gets harder to see people. People stop driving at night. People move. Friends that you've had forever in your neighborhood, they move to be closer to their kids or they move into communities. You have to keep building your curiosity muscle, reaching out to people, being that person that says hi first, has the smile first, reaches out a hand first. Do that, and it will reward you with this sense of connection and community. And that is very important. Okay, this one I love. Don't be predictable. Defy expectations. Stephen Petro is a wonderful reporter and writer, and he wrote one of my favorite books, which is called Stupid Things I Won't Do When I Get Old. And this is all about our chance to change the narrative of aging. And many of you I know are already doing this. So what he talks about is don't let people put you in a box. which is also connected to ageism, which we're also going to talk about. So don't stop wearing outfits that someone says are too young for you. You can wear whatever you want. On the other hand, don't resist hearing aids. This is so important. People resist getting hearing aids mostly out of vanity or also because they're costly, but there are more affordable options out there. Even Costco has hearing aids now. And the chance to hear and to be in conversation is very important for your brain because the less you hear and the less you get involved in large conversations, group discussions, having conversations in a noisy restaurant, you start to fade away. You start to pull yourself back from those conversations. And that is damaging to your mental health because you are not hearing, you're not connecting. As we talked about earlier, conversation and communication is very important for brain health. So if you can't hear people talking and you just stop responding and just vaguely say, uh-huh, or yes, that's not good for your brain. It's also not good for your connections. So don't wait till you're deaf to get hearing aids. Don't pass up the chance to pee. As we get older, our bladders are less uh, a bit able to. Anyway, our bladders get weaker. So if you have the chance, go. Don't be ashamed. Go soon, and then get back to the organization or the involvement or the activity that you're doing. Don't let fear of having an accident prevent you from going somewhere. The next thing is something super important, one that I experienced a lot with my dad, who passed away about a year and a half ago. Don't lie to the doctor. I would go to with my dad, who died at age 90, to the doctor because he will go to the doctor and say, everything is fine. I'm fine. And I don't know if it's a residual, I don't want to bother anyone, or if he just wanted he was in a state of denial. I think he was in a state of denial. Your doctor is the place where you go to really go through all the symptoms that you have, that you're afraid of, that you're concerned about. This is a place to talk and talk through your options. And it's always good if you have the opportunity to bring somebody with you to take notes because it can be confusing. There's a lot of terms, there's a lot of different things you're going to go through. And the John H. Hartford Foundation has a number of free resources online that they have posted. This is an interview that hasn't been released yet that can provide you a guideline of when you go to the doctor. Here are the things you should check out with the doctor. Make sure to make the most of that appointment and don't try and rush out. It is your time, and you need to help ask the doctor to advocate for you to have your best health span. And then last, don't be that cranky person. Don't be that cranky old person that refuses to change their ways. If your grandchildren or your nieces and nephews have a new app to show you, or they want to tell you about something connected to technology, let them. Encourage learning, encourage new ways of doing things. Try practicing a new way of doing something you've done for a long time. This again gets back to a healthy brain, which is learning new habits, learning new skills. Try something different. Don't do things just because you've always done them. Consider this. You have, after retirement, hopefully 20 more years to live, 20 more years to learn, 20 more years to do something different. So why not try something unexpected? Why not be that surprising, interesting older adult? So I highly recommend this book. It's very funny, has some great stories, and could give you some ideas. The next interesting conversation that I'd like to talk about is my conversation with Andrew Robin. one of the things that so many people, I do have a consulting practice in addition to the podcast, and one of the things that people seem to flounder in is, what do I do next? What am I here for? So I thought I was here to raise a family, and I've done that. I thought I was here to have a career, and I accomplished that. I educated my kids. I bought a second home. I own my home. What next? And we talk about purpose. We're going to talk about purpose later on. But Andrew Robin has an interesting take on this. He has a very, very tiny book, little paperback book. It would take you an afternoon to read. And he says, this is your time, much as Joe Coughlin referred to, time to explore. This is your time for a tapas life, which is have a number of little things, like a tapas meal, little tastes of different experiences. So don't decide that just because your career was the be all and end all, or your family was the be all and end all, you have to have one thing that's going to define your life. Have numbers of things. Try something that explores your artistic side, even if you never had an opportunity to be artistic up until now. Try exploring spirituality. Try doing something new physically. Try doing something new from a connection standpoint. It is our chance to fail fearlessly. And I love that because I'm the kind of person who was not very athletic as a child growing up pre-Title IX. No one would choose me ever for any team. But now I have the chance to run a half marathon. I have a chance to be a part of a relay race team. I have a chance to learn pickleball. You can fail. It's not life dependent. No one here is looking for a college scholarship or, a trophy, hopefully. It's a chance to try something new, fail, and realize that your curiosity, your willingness to do new things, your willingness to try something that brings you out of your comfort zone is enough. Just try it, see if you like it, see if you like the learning process, and realize that many different things can define you. It doesn't have to be just one thing. That just one thing life is what you had before. Now you can have something richer and more interesting. One of the things that I know that helps us feel better mentally is to practice gratitude. And I've had several conversations on this topic, but one of my most memorable is with Janice Kaplan, who wrote the Gratitude Diaries. And she took a year and decided she was going to practice gratitude every day intentionally. And she wrote a book about it, which was fabulous. And gratitude is really about changing our mindset. And it's what we could all practice right now. The world is in a challenging place. And every day we get up and there's something negative on the news, there's something negative that's happened to us or our friends. Growing older means experiencing loss, lots of very painful loss of friends, loss of ability to do the things that we used to be able to do without thinking about it. It is not easy to get older and to feel like you are not as good as you were. So, cultivating an act and a practice of gratitude is very counterintuitive, and it is worth it because, again, that mental attitude drives a lot of our body's ability to fight back when a health challenge comes up. And we'll talk about that in a later slide. But practicing gratitude is not easy. You have to change your mindset. You have to intentionally try to celebrate the things that are good in your life. And what Janice did is to start a gratitude journal. And she started writing to people that she was grateful to and telling them exactly why she was grateful to them, which was incredibly powerful. And in fact, there was a psychiatrist at Mass General Hospital, Dr. Jeffrey Huffman, and he practiced in his group of patients in a psychiatric hospital, writing a letter of positive gratitude towards people. He suggested that his patients did this, and he said it was the single most powerful thing that created a positive intervention with his patients. The single most positive thing that he did was have them write letters of gratitude. So it can change your mind, it can change your intention. Excuse me 1 minute. I am just going back to my slide here. So this is not easy, but it is worthwhile. It is worthwhile doing this practice of gratitude. The next thing is also hard, but it is worth it. And it's going to be very good for anyone that does this. So I have worked with Matt Paxton a few times in the past and love him. He's got a new show called Filthy Fortunes that's on TV right now. He's author of Legacy List on PBS, Hoarders, and he is an expert on downsizing. And he wrote a book called Keep the Memories, Lose the Stuff. And this is such an important thing to do. Every single one of us, myself included, has too much stuff. Too much stuff in our drawers, in our closets, in our attics, in our basements, in our garages. And if we are able to let go of some of this stuff, it will free us to choose other opportunities that are good for us. For example, we could get rid of some stuff and move into a community like Riverwoods. We could get rid of our stuff and decide to travel. Get rid of our stuff and focus on our relationships, not on our stuff. And this is something we have spent our lifetimes collecting things that mean something to us and that show the world who we are, what kind of taste we have, where we have been, where we've traveled, what our kids have done, what have we done. We've gathered all of this stuff, but no one wants it. So if you're holding on to things because you think your kids want it, they don't. And I would recommend you ask your children right now, who would like my collection of Hummels? Who would like my furniture, my dining room set, my Waterford crystal? I know you paid a lot of money for it. Ask your kids or your friends or whoever you know if anyone would like what you have. Try to start giving away some of your stuff so that you can have a bigger life and not just focus on the stuff. It will be very liberating. The other thing that we also tend not to do as we get older is we don't like change. I talked to Michelle Rosen, who is called the Change Doctor. She wrote a book called the Hit the Change Button. And her perspective is those people who resist change resist growth. So change is growth. Change is something new. And we are not going to create a new future doing the same thing over and over again. If you think about the past 10 years of your life, just think about it. Some good things have happened, some bad things have happened, but change has come for you. And the next 10 years are going to bring more change. It doesn't matter if you stay in the same house, change will find you. So why not embrace that change? Think about what could be next and choose that change. Don't wait for a crisis to result in you having to make a decision because of a crisis. Because if you wait, then you have lost a number of options. When we wait until there's a crisis, we have fewer options. When we plan ahead and we choose our change, we are in control of our destiny. And that's what I think about when I think about independence. Independence does not mean staying in the same house forever. Independence means knowing when you need care and when you need help, that you have a plan for how you're going to get it, who's going to provide it, what it's going to cost, and you're ready. That's what independence means right now. Being ready for the future, even if that's a little scary. This is one of the favorite people, my favorite people that I have not interviewed, but she's so significant, I had to put her in here. Dr. Becca Levy wrote a fabulous book called Breaking the Age Code. And it is shocking because she is at Yale University and she did a study on how our own internal stereotypes create detrimental health effects. So she took a cohort of people who felt very positively about aging. They were happy to be there, get a hip replacement because I want to play with my grandkids and I want to go on the hike to Machu Picchu and I'm going to do more things. And she studied them compared to a group of people the same age and stage in for hip surgery who had negative age beliefs. They had internalized all of the ageism. They were saying, oh, I'm 72, everything's breaking down. I can't do the things I used to do. Now I got hip surgery. What's next? It's going to be so painful. It's going to be so hard. And the positive people not only recovered faster, they lived 7.5 years longer than the negative age group. So we are surrounded by ageism in this country. It is everywhere. It's in the air we breathe, every piece of media we consume, all of our friends, and ourselves. It gets embedded in ourselves. When we look in the mirror and we only see the wrinkles, we don't see the smile. So, starting internally to change our attitude about our own aging is critical. It is really critical. And I am on a mission to change the way people feel about aging. As I said before, aging is a gift that not everyone gets to unwrap. So let's stop complaining about the fact that we're older and things hurt and you can't do things the same way that you used to. And let's celebrate curiosity, learning new things, anticipating change, and being positive for being here and having the opportunities that many other people didn't have the chance to do. This is an excellent book. I would highly recommend it. Now, blue zones. This is something I think a lot of people have heard about. I'm just going to talk about the Japanese concept of ikigai, which is your reason to get up in the morning. Dan Buettner has a book, he's got a workbook, he's got a cookbook, he's got a television show. He went to all the places in the world where the oldest old thrive, those people who are well into their 90s and their 100s and are thriving. And he says, as many of these experts say, in your second half of life, a new purpose can emerge. And it's necessary to let go of what you had to discover what you are going to be next. But we all need a reason to get up in the morning, which connects to a positive outlook on life. And that is one of the keys to living a longer, happier, and healthier life. Those are my top 10 lessons that I have learned in the last year, speaking from experts, reading literally hundreds of books on the topic of aging. So, what about you? What are you going to do with your next 8,000 days? You're not done. You're here for a reason. If you choose, you can have the chance to change your life for the better, starting today, starting tomorrow. You can make a change, but only you can decide that. One of the things I want to reiterate is your mind is a powerful force. Don't let it get the best of you. Make sure you have a positive attitude. Exercise, just like Paris, is always a good idea, even when you don't want to. Friendships are the saving grace. They get you through dark times, and faith can help you heal. And I know for myself that I want to defy expectations. I do not want to age like my parents. I want to be an unexpected, curious, active, older adult. Um, so that I a little bit rushed to the end to see if to make sure we have time for comments and questions.
Right. Thank you so much, Kathleen. What a great presentation. And I have a new top 10 book list I'm going to start to create, or maybe I want to join your book club because clearly you have lots of great resources.
Hey,
Uh,
if you don't want to read the book, just listen to the podcast. It's half hour to 40 minutes and we get all of the cliff notes.
no, that's fantastic. Certainly, we want to get to some questions in a minute. If anyone has a great question or has a question for Kathleen, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Just a couple slides we'll talk about while you're thinking about questions. First one here. Is a new program called NaviGuide. So Riverwood's NaviGuide. This is a brand new resource, a subscription-based program that Riverwoods is introducing for the first time, really, just brand new out-of-the-box program here. It's really to help individuals and families navigate the world of aging, kind of what we talked about, and senior care. For some, community might not be the right resource or the right opportunity. Some people might stay at home, as Kathleen mentioned. So NaviGuide is really a wonderful new partnership that we have, really provide personalized professional guidance to seniors and their families looking for help with home care, meal delivery, other resources. So we have Amanda here, who's our new NaviGuide for Riverwoods, that will be assisting people, again, outside the community, inside the community, people on our wait list potentially with this new service. So if you're interested, go to riverwoodsnh.org to learn more about NaviGuide. And then one upcoming program that is next up on our Riverwoods, we do a lot of programming, as you probably imagine, and education for prospects and future residents. This one is on scams and really to stay safe and stay informed. A lot of us are experiencing those emails, text, a variety of sources of people trying to get our personal information. So we have hired or have a great speaker, Ron Long, who will be speaking on Thursday, June 26th from 1 to 2. So a great program. Again, if you can't attend our programs, please register, and then you can always get a recorded version of most of our programs following the event. So we always like to make sure people know what things are upcoming in the community. But at this time, we want to get to some questions for Kathleen because she, again, is such a great resource and can provide a lot of really great inspiration, thinking, so many things that could help our people that are on this call today. So Kathleen, in no particular order, I'm just going to go through some questions here and see how
Sure.
you can provide some assistance. So we
Sure.
have a question. My husband recently passed away. Social life was spent with other couples. And either I have had that awkwardness of trying to fit in with that new situation. Can you suggest some ideas to kind of counterpart that?
Absolutely. And we talked a little bit about one phase of retirement is solo aging, which many more people are going to be doing in these years because of divorce or death, etc. I would recommend looking into a women's only travel group, a women's only book club, so that you find more friends and expand your list, your ways of opportunity. So, what I would do is look into your local gym. I highly recommend. I go to the Y here in Exeter. I would highly recommend going to a local gym, attending some classes where you will meet people and meet people who are at the same exercise level. Look into senior centers and what they are doing. They're doing a lot of hiking, they're doing a lot of classes. Look into your, if you have Ollie available, OSHA Lifelong Learning. There's a huge network of people who are going to Ollie classes, learning new things. Put yourself in different places where you can encounter different individuals and explore something that you are interested in that maybe your husband wasn't interested in. So I would say put yourself out there, and I would start with finding a gym that you like and joining a class.
Great advice. How about brain health? We have a couple questions on brain health activities. Any resources or anything that you could share on that topic?
Yes, yes, I've talked to a lot of people about brain health. Um, uh, in addition to Vanetta Dotson, Maureen O'Connor has written a couple of books called Dr. Maureen O'Connor. She's based out of Boston, runs the VA Dementia Project, and she has a book called Six Steps to Managing Your Memory. And she is the one that said to me three things: reduce your chance of dementia by 50%. Sleep, exercise, socialization, not brain games. Brain games just help you get better at the brain games. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. We need interaction with adults, live interaction where we're reading people's faces and having conversations, and it's unexpected. So do that. Get out, get engaged. Exercise every day. Try to get some kind of cardio, try to get some kind of bone density. What's good for your heart and your lungs is also good for your brain. So do that. And if you are worried that something is the start, there's something more significant going on, have a conversation with your doctor. It could be thyroid, it could be uh, um, um, a side effect of medication. Get it checked out. Have a mini mocha taken. There are medications you can get on if you have mild cognitive impairment. So don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about it. And I would absolutely, I have a podcast call that goes into more detail about how do you know the difference between typical age-related memory loss and something more significant. So you can take a look at that on my website. But don't be afraid. Get it checked out because you don't want to ignore this.
Great. Kathleen, are you familiar with the book How to Retire by Christine Benz?
I don't think I am. I'm going to write it down. Christine,
Z,
Benz.
Z with a Z, yeah. So
And
someone said it's great, and so just a suggestion. So again, we
awesome.
always like suggestions or topics, so that's really
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
that's a great one. I know you talked a little bit about Mac Paxton and save the memories, keep the memories,
Keep the
get rid of the
memories,
stuff.
lose the stuff.
Yeah. Any other tips on decluttering, downsizing,
Yes,
other things that you can share?
yes, do it. When it comes to downsizing, just do it. Take a page from Nike. And spring is a great time. Garage sales. Here in New Hampshire, we have this lovely tradition of putting out things on the side of the road with a free sign, and people take them. There is a place called freecycle.com, I think, or it might be .org, where you can put things that you no longer want on FreeCycle and people can use them. Start small. Start with a junk drawer, a room that is really kind of driving you crazy, and do it one drawer at a time. But be ruthless. And maybe you get a buddy and you partner. You say, I'll help you downsize, this weekend if you help me downsize that weekend. Springtime is a great time to do this because we're airing out everything, we're cleaning the garage anyway. And the good news is there are so many people that could use your things. Why are they sitting in cabinets? It is much better for us mentally to have clear and organized spaces without a lot of clutter. And I think those with ADHD would totally agree with me that a lot of stuff is very hard and very distracting. So my advice is do it, don't put it off, get a buddy. I also have a one thing that I've learned from the downsizers I've talked to is I have a basket in my home that I just go by, and every now and then if I see something, it doesn't fit me, it doesn't use me, I don't use it anymore, I put it in that and I fill it up every week and then go bring it to a donation center, Goodwill, a number of different places.
That's great. A lot of thank yous. Number one, not surprised. Definitely a new book list from someone. Like I said, kind of feel the same way. Outstanding presentation. Thanks for delivering it with grace and authority. Kind of fitting with seniority authority behind you. Another couple more thank yous. So a lot of thank yous here.
Oh, that's
Um,
any questions? Any,
yeah.
what do you have on your minds that you want to know more about? Let's
And
play
again,
stump the speaker.
yeah, again, topics, anything on aging, because Kathleen is definitely an expert. We'll put her in that expert category on aging. And I know a lot of people ask about solo aging. I know you talked a little bit
Yes.
about that. That's quite
Yes.
an important topic for people because it,
Yes. I have a couple of podcasts. One person I highly recommend listening to is Sarah Zeth Geber. She's one of the pioneers of solo aging. And there are several books and resources out for solo aging. And I think there's a solo aging day that's coming up. I'm not exactly sure when, but solo agers, it's very important to get your paperwork done, get your person that you are going to lean on. And again, this is a great place for a buddy system. Get a friend of yours if you are not partnered, who you'll be their person and they'll be your person. And you have the responsibility of planning for your future, the responsibility and the opportunity.
question. We'll use the term medication. Is there medication that prevent memory loss? Do they really work?
Yes.
Or do you have anything that you can share on that?
Yes, I do. Because my mom, who is 92, has mild cognitive impairment. As I say, everyone has a different dementia journey. We know that dementia is the category of the mental health disorder. Alzheimer's is the most prevalent form of dementia, but there are many different kinds of dementia. I am not a doctor, but there is medication that can slow the progress of dementia. My mom has been on something for 9 years. It has helped her tremendously. And that is why I would not hesitate to, if you're worried about something, go to the doctor, tell them what you're experiencing, and get diagnosed so that you can get on something that can help you. Again, we have new research that's going on. Um, and we have a lot of people invested in finding a solution for this. So don't just assume nothing can be done. I can personally attest to it making a big difference.
Another good question, Kathleen. Maybe it's to you, maybe it's to everyone here. What was your very first step towards redefining yourself?
Oh, oh, that's a great question. My very first step to redefining myself is I'm taking the tapas life approach. So I'm doing lots of things. I have a consulting practice right now where I work with older adults who are trying to figure out what their next step is. So I launched that. I am doing a series of television shows with New Hampshire Public Television. They'll be out in the fall. There's 5 shows talking again about what you should do as you get older. So I'm doing TV. I'm learning to knit, which I've never done before in my life. I'm traveling. I am exercising every day, and that is something I have to force myself to do. And I am intentional at reaching out and making connections with friends. And I also care for my mom. So, and I also joined our uh, the trustees of our library. So I'm trying lots of new things, and I'm enjoying it because it's many different things, kind of focused around aging, but I'm also trying new things and failing. You should see my fingerless gloves. I finished fingerless gloves after 4 months. So, but I don't care. I'm still learning.
Yeah. We'll do one final question. We're about 5 after, but the questions are great. So, last question. So, my husband and I are on different pages with moving forward. What's the best way to cope with the emotional difference?
That is a really good question. And it is, you're not alone. As Dan knows, as everyone at Riverwoods knows, people are often on different pages when it comes to what their plan is to retire, and where to go and what to do. And I think it's important to talk honestly with each other about what is going to excite you and what is going to really kind of depress you. If it's going to be very hard for you to stay at home and your husband wants to stay at home, it's good to sit down together and have a conversation about that and put everything out on the table, which can be hard if you've been in a long-term marriage and sometimes things go without saying. But now is the time to say, you know what, I'm tired of cooking every single meal. I'm tired of picking up after the house. You think it's not a big deal, but it's all on me. I'm just assuming, but I would have that conversation directly, or maybe work with someone and have that conversation with the two of you because it's important to get on the same page in terms of where you're going to move to in your next chapter. Um, do you want to be more active? He wants to be less active. Whatever that is, it's important to get it out. You don't have to always do the same things. It's important in a marriage to let people have their individual lives, but in terms of the big decisions, you need to get on the same page.
Great piece of advice to end the program today. So, again, I want to thank Kathleen for all your great wisdom, advice, your expertise today. For everyone that was on the program, it is recorded, so we will be sending a link. So if you missed something, want to reference one of the books of our top 10, you'll see that recording will be sent to you following. But again, thank you everyone for attending today. If you have additional questions or if we didn't get to your question, I apologize because we could be here all afternoon. We can certainly get back to you. Your sales counsel will reach out to you and follow up. If the link for the next program isn't working, certainly we'll get that to you as well. So, but again, on behalf of Riverwoods, thank you, Kathleen, and check out Seniority Authority. I know that's a big pitch for her, and it's a great program, great podcast. So if you're not into podcasts, it might be something, one of your first podcasts you get to enjoy. So
Be something new.
there you go. Something new in your next 8,000 days. So there you go. But thanks again. It was a pleasure. And I hope everyone
Thank
has a
you.
wonderful afternoon and a great rest of the month of April. May 1st is tomorrow. Thanks
Yeah,
again. Bye.
thank you.